you're not really you. You're just you today, and you're constantly changing, and you're constantly evolving. And being able to kind of look back and remember that retrospect, how back in those days you thought this, and today you see things a little bit differently, and you understand that, things are kind of not the way you thought.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. Today we're going to be joined by Shelly Moyal, an international finance and investment expert. Shelly leads iAngels with a compelling and hands-on approach to the firm's investment due diligence process, investor relations and portfolio management of the iAngels platform, and institutional fund iNgenuity. Shelly's experience as an investment banker with Goldman Sachs and research analyst at Avenue Capital equip her to reality test the growth plans for early-stage innovative companies, make data-driven investment decisions, and architect deal terms to ensure equitable profitability between investors and entrepreneurs. She is an active investor who accelerates companies' enterprise growth with marketing, finance, recruiting, fundraising, and business development efforts. Shelly Moyal, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. iAngels is such a significant part of the Israeli ecosystem, such an active part of both on the investment side, but also, I think you have more than 5,000 accredited investors on your platform with over $250 million under management. You're a board director of some of the most interesting companies in the Israeli ecosystem. So it's a real pleasure for me to get to know you in these 20 minutes and sort of pick your brain on the founding of iAngels and where you are today and how you got here. So Shelly, tell me a little bit about yourself and then we'll dive into iAngels.
Sure. So, Shelly, I actually started my career in investing. Started at UBS and then worked at Avenue Capital as a trader and analyst. Afterwards at Goldman Sachs investment banking division. I always wanted to invest. I always saw myself as an investor today as well. iAngels I founded 8 years ago with More Asya from my basement. I think really what's special about us is the fact that we built iAngels as a startup. We weren't looking to build a VC in any way. We felt that there was a real need on one hand for entrepreneurs to connect with the world, with investors from different countries, and on the other hand for investors that are serious investors looking for relevant opportunities, high caliber entrepreneurs, serious people. And we saw an opportunity to connect between these two worlds because we came from these two worlds. We both had an experience working with investors, working as part of corporates. We know what people are looking for, but we were also from a burgeoning generation of entrepreneurs, people that went to the army with us, went to school with us, really experienced the whole proliferation of the Israel tech ecosystem. And we felt that we can be a bridge. And so we moved to my basement and, started making phone calls and traveling the world and speaking with people and built a product and brought on engineers and product people and basically created a really easy way for people to build their own VC in a way that's professional and investment grade.
So walk me through really to those early days. You're sitting with Mo. What is sort of the what is the vision? What is sort of the intrinsic motivation that is guiding you as you're figuring out what type of investment arm we're going to do and how do we want to empower others to create their own portfolios? Sort of what is sort of the mission that you're on?
So at the time when we started, the mission was mainly to provide capital and awareness and access to the Israel tech ecosystem. By the way, the world is very different today, but when we were traveling the world, there were a lot of people around that did deals in Israel that weren't successful, not because the startups weren't successful, but because the communication wasn't successful. And we saw here a real opportunity to make a difference. We also saw it through the eyes of our chairman, David Assia, who he himself is a serial entrepreneur. And before we started iAngels, he had a portfolio of many startups, and he kept chasing them for updates. The startups that were successful, he never heard from them, and he never really had the chance to follow up. And the only ones that he actually did have the chance to follow up were the ones that kept knocking on his door for more capital. And it was very difficult to keep track of. No standardization of how KPIs are presented, how information is presented, what is the deal structure that makes sense for everyone. And really the vision was to change all that and to really empower an ecosystem or a nation that's partnership driven and win-win driven. And really, if you look at our platform, this is what we're all about. We try to bring, on one hand, to our entrepreneurs, we build strong relationships with them that are based on trust and communication and responsiveness on one hand, and on the other hand, from the investor perspective, also transparency and fairness and ability really to get all the information and make educated decisions.
Right. And so, you're starting this off, and if we're looking, I believe 8 years ago it was when this started, right?
It started, the ideation phase started 8 years ago, but I can share with you that 7 years ago, we started investing, and that first year we invested $500,000. And in the second year, we invested $1 million. And we would call entrepreneurs and convince them to give us $100,000 and then sell it to other people in $10,000 tickets. So it was very different than how it is today. Today we're actually managing over $350 million. So it's not $250 anymore. Just this year, we raised over $70 million since January. So the operation scaled quite a bit. And yeah, today we've invested in 100 startups. We've had 23 exits. We've built a VC fund, a crypto hedge fund. Now we're raising an opportunities fund. So
incredible. So right now, if you're looking at iAngels and the role that it plays within the Israeli ecosystem, what is that to you? Sort of what role does iAngels play? In the if you look from a bird's eye view at the tech ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. I think that the most significant thing that iAngels provides to entrepreneurs and I guess to the tech ecosystem in general is a new approach and a new way of doing things. A process that is structured, that is methodological, that at any point in time you know what you can expect. From the portfolio company's point of view, we're incredibly flexible. We can answer many of our entrepreneurs' financial needs, whether it's funding for the round, whether it's secondaries, whether it's bonuses for employees, whether it's a safe, whether it's bringing in other investors under our structure and SPV, and really we try to be the best investor that we can for entrepreneurs. Right. The type of investor that we want for ourselves. And
I love it. And so is the female-led part, the female-owned and led VC, how significant was that already from the beginning? Was that sort of, you said, we want this to be, 10 years strong. We still want this to be the female-led VC of the Israeli ecosystem. Was that a part of the mission?
No, not at all. First of all, we encourage as many women to join the ecosystem. We see ourselves as a springboard for women. Many women that started in iAngels moved on to do great things, including entrepreneurship, including VC, including corporates. And actually, part of our agenda is not to be the only women-led
No,
VC.
no, of course, didn't mean only, of course.
Rather to bring in more women to the ecosystem and empower more women to be doing what we do.
No, yeah, of course, and I didn't mean only. I mean a female-led VC, and obviously that's not something that you come by every day, and it is something very special and something that I think is playing a pivotal role in the ecosystem.
One thing I noticed, by the way, is that we, without even trying, we end up investing in a lot of women. We're actually.
Why is that?
I think that we're not gender blind. I think
Ah,
that we're
very
less.
nice.
I think that we're less biased, to be honest. Because we're working now on our. We're doing this video for iAngels for the end of the year because we had an incredible year. We had 11 exits and many big
Wow.
rounds, unicorns, and so we decided to create this film. And then I noticed, wow, there are a lot of women on this film. A lot of women founders and CEOs
So it's not just in your portfolio; it's of the successful part of the portfolio.
yeah,
You're seeing a lot of the women, which
we're
is
seeing
even stronger.
Yeah.
Incredible. Which part of this whole process, does Shelly really enjoy? If you're looking from the managing the fund and shaping a new type of investment arm, all the way to finding the right startups, to working with them as a board director, and I'm sure that takes up a lot of your time as well. Which part of this pipeline is Shelly really, into?
I really love everything. I really love all the work and just building iAngels and just riding this incredible wave and learning and actually being involved in all aspects of the business and investing and business development and working with investors in marketing and building a product and thinking about how we provide better automation and onboarding and I really enjoy managing and working with my team and recruiting and building people and just really everything from A to Z.
So obviously in the last 8 years or so, you spent a significant amount of time, really understanding, the VC and the tech ecosystem here and sort of deciding what role you want to play in it. If you look today, at what's happening and where we are you satisfied? Is this sort of an ideal situation, either in your eyes or generally in the VC's eyes? Or, as a thinker, where do you think we should be going?
What do you mean by ideal situation?
So, 8 years, as a pioneer in what you do, and as a founder of a VC arm, you're poised to constantly think about, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I building the right arm? Are we, is the process correct? And sort of looking at a bird's eye view. And I'm wondering if we're looking at this question today and not just 8 years ago when you founded iAngels, what's happening in the ecosystem perhaps that you think we need to improve on, or that you think that iAngels needs to improve on, or in general?
I don't really look at the world that way. I kind of accept what is and try to make the most of it. I also see in every situation, I see benefits and I see disadvantages. A lot of people, for example, ask me, are we in a bubble? Is this good? The valuations? And I mean, look, as an investor, it does make things more challenging. But on the other hand, being in an environment where a lot of people want to invest and there are a lot of interest and entrepreneurs have opportunities to raise significant capital allows them to accelerate more quickly and markets to develop more quickly and products to be shipped more quickly. So there are different things. There are good things about it as well, because it also, for example, where there's a lot of money and there's a lot of interest, also brings a lot of talent. And then that trickles down also to students, for example, who are deciding what their career paths should be. So, I mean, this is just an example, but really,
Right.
and regarding what iAngels, if we could or couldn't have done better, or I mean, I don't think about these things because whatever we could or couldn't have done, it's not something that I have any control over. The only thing I actually can control is what I'm doing today.
Yeah, of course. And, I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. And, if you look across your own journey,
Mhm.
you came into iAngels already having experience in the world. You've worked at some great organizations, very global organizations. So a lot of understanding there. Where did you grow most in the last 7 or 8 years? Is it more on the leadership side? Is it more the business development, being able to find the right people to back and to understand markets better? Where do you see the biggest growth on your personal end?
I think the experience of building a business, it's very, first of all, it's very broad. You're getting a lot. It's very multidisciplinary, and it's very humbling. I've come from different organizations, but but really I over the years learned how much I don't know, and really come to appreciate that, and it's very humbling, and it's very helpful in kind of being thoughtful and trying to learn quickly from mistakes or things that didn't occur exactly the way you want them to. I think it made me a better listener.
Mm. Was founding iAngels, a similar journey to what maybe some of your founders are experiencing? That you're now that they're starting a startup. You mentioned that iAngels was a startup for that Moyal and you co-founded. Are there really similarities in the sort of the day
I'm
to day
sure
and the
there
thought
are.
process?
I'm sure there are. Because when Moore and I started, it was just the two of us, and we wanted to build a
Yeah,
website, and we wanted to build this, and we wanted to build that, and we ended up we're the secretary, we're the salesperson, we're the
yeah,
legal, I remember 2 years into iAngels, we finally brought a legal, like a person that's a lawyer, and you read every single contract, you're on every single call, you're making sales pitches. For someone who, for my whole life, I was behind Excel spreadsheets. That was very enlightening all of a sudden to really, be out there selling things. So that's the first stage. And then there was a second stage where we raised a little bit of capital. We brought in our first employees. How do you adjust to that? How do you become not only an entrepreneur, but how do you become a manager or someone that people want to follow? And
right.
then, and today we're experiencing other issues like scaling, and how do you make things better and more efficient? How do you build a culture? How do you create a DNA where people want to stay? So there's never a dull moment. I think many of our founders go through the things and the questions that we go through.
I love it. Shelly, take me back. Before investing, before the Excel spreadsheets, everything. 10 years old, elementary school, middle school. You walk. Where did you grow up, Shelly?
So I grew up for most of my childhood, I grew up in Petah Tikva.
In Petah Tikva. What sparked your curiosity? What fascinated you as a kid, roaming the world?
So actually, there's something that I was fascinated by. I'm still very fascinated by it. When I was in sixth grade, I had my first deep conversation with a friend, sichat nefesh.
Yeah.
And I remember that night very well. It was like into the night. It was till 3 a.m. And I felt so empowered. I felt, wow, I'm analyzing like real things here, and like I'm analyzing life and people and relationships, and I had all these kind of aha moments. And something that really fascinated me was kind of the realization. Every few years, I looked back at myself then, and I said, wow, I can't believe I thought that way then. Like today, I think something totally different. I'm a totally new, enlightened person. And it happened to me literally every single year. And it
Wow.
still happens sometimes. And it really made me realize that you're not really you. You're just you today. And you're constantly changing and you're constantly evolving. And being able to kind of look back and remember that retrospect, how back in those days you thought this, and today you see things a little bit differently, and you understand that, you know, things are kind of not the way you thought. So that's something
I
that
love it.
fascinated me, and still.
And obviously this goes back to this exact, same idea that you're saying before. We can look at the past and harp on it and think about it a lot, but the life is moving forward and we have opportunities every single minute. We get to reinvent ourselves and we make it an intentional choice about who we are and what we do. And every minute that we look back, maybe we'll learn something from it, but it's also not allowing us to propel forward and in the same rate. And I think that it speaks very similarly to what you said before. And Shelly, I really want to thank you for coming here. I know how incredibly busy you are, and just looking at the amount of companies that you're involved in personally through iAngels, it's an incredible list. And thank you for all the amazing work that you're doing for the Israeli ecosystem and for your founders and for your investors. Last question for you: if there are a few words that Mo or any of your entrepreneurs or investors would think of when they hear the name Shelly Hod Moyal, what words would come up?
I think they would say that I'm relentless.
Yeah, I can get that.
I'm a learner. Like I love to learn. I love to read. I get through usually one book a week, still even today.
Amazing.
And adventurous.
Yeah, I love it. First time I hear that word. I've been waiting for like 700 episodes to hear that word.
Always love
Shelly,
adventure.
Thank you very, very much. Toda rabba. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you for iAngels and thank you for these 20 minutes. And zeo, thank you.
Toda.